It's 7:05 PM. We'll start the monthly meeting of the Economic Development Council. We've got Kathy Mitchell, Carl Hale, Keith Milstein, Joseph Lutz.
Joel.
Joseph Lutz. Is that right, Joel? I'll get it in a minute. And Pat Wooten and Glenn Gill will be in attendance. First item is citizens to be heard. Did we have anybody sign up for anything?
No, sir.
Okay, item 2 are the consent agenda, approval of the minutes, monthly revenue and expenditure report, and quarterly investment report. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda items?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Milstein, seconded by Hale. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Item 5 is discussion and action on a parking lot lease agreement between the City of Helotes and Uvalde Terry and her heirs for the property located at 14392 Old Bandera Road. That's the property adjacent to the barbecue and behind the antique barn.
Yes, the red barn, the antique
Red
depot.
barn, yeah. Right there on Highway 16 where we park all the time and where we had the, used to have the barbecue. We had the barbecue contestants set up.
Oh, right.
Got the big sign that says Shop Old Town on the corner of the property. Glenn, give us some background on that.
Yes, sir. Included in the packet is the original lease agreement that was dated January 2012. And that has been in effect until this month when we received the notice of cancellation. Prior, it was a free lease agreement to the city of Helotes. Gave us the ability to use the lot for special events in Old Town Helotes, including Marketplace, Jazz Fest, the various cook-offs that we've held. And we haven't had to pay any rent. And then it also kept it open as a public parking lot for almost 345 to 50 days a year. The balance being that when Floors had one of their outdoor concerts, he was able to block off and charge a $10 parking fee. And that was included in this agreement. After B Daddy Barbecue opened, he noticed more people using the public parking lot, customers, employees of B Daddy Barbecue. He had approached the owner about charging him a rental fee for customers to park on the lot. It got brought up to the city. We told him that there was a contract with the city to keep it as a free public parking lot, and that's when he submitted his cancellation notice and stated that if the city and or EDC wished to continue an agreement, he wanted to be reimbursed. So the request right now is $500 a month if we wanted to enter into a new agreement.
500 a month, and it's been no cost up to this point?
That is correct.
And you used the word reimbursed. He wants the EDC to reimburse.
Oh, yeah. Probably not the right term to use, reimburse, not anything prior. Now, I will say the city, in the last 4 years, has paid the mowing of that lot and has paid for security lighting.
Okay.
So there
what's
has
the
been a nominal-
security lighting entail?
There's 2 ANSEL lights that CPS Energy installed, and those bills come to the city and are paid through them. And that is $60 a month for the 2 lights. I think it's $30 each light. And then mowing is when grass, Maldonado now, sorry. They come out, they mow the city property, they take care of Old Town. They just kind of include that as part of it. So it's a smaller, kind of an ancillary cost to contract.
So basically, we're lighting, securing, and maintaining the property for the owner as the cost for using it.
Correct.
Until now. And so now he wants $500 a month on top of the lighting, security, and maintenance.
Correct.
He didn't really specify that.
He didn't in his letter, but that is the desire, the intent in the conversation I had with him.
Would he also still be charging for floors?
Yes.
What does he mean by the base material? It says for some improvements. Base material for leveling certain areas of the property.
He's
Who's paying for that?
He's asking whoever decides to do a lease agreement with him,
To do that?
the city and/or EDC, or combination of both, to go out, grade the property, and put in base material to make it, I guess, more appropriate for a parking lot.
Plus secure it, plus take care of the lawn mowing.
And I would say that,
Specifically, though, I want to make this clear too. What is securing it? Because we talked about lighting, we know what that is.
lighting, that's it.
Securing, is that something separate?
No,
No, that is the lighting,
security.
basically.
yeah,
Right, okay,
Okay.
so that's one item.
yes,
But we patrol the area, right? We patrol all the Lowe's.
right. Lowe's P always.
How many cars can you park on that, man?
If you have someone parking cars, guiding them in, you can get 100 cars on the lot.
Pretty good sized parking lot.
It really is.
We are always short of parking for market days and any other events we have too.
Well, I'm supportive of using the property. I just want to be clear about the terms and make sure we,
And I think anything is negotiable as well, so, he even stipulated, I think it's the last page in the packet, that he was only interested in doing a one-year agreement. I know I've spoken with the mayor, and the mayor absolutely against a one-year, especially if he's considering improvements to the property.
Exactly, yeah.
yeah.
He
we
would
don't
like to
think in
entertain
one-year terms.
possibly a
We're-
5-year, just see what we can get.
Will he give over the floors parking to us?
No,
What was that question?
If he would give over the floors parking to us, because that would generate the funds for it.
oh, yeah.
Oh, I imagine that's.
I'm
sure
pretty
not.
good There, that's a,
He generates $1,000 per event.
yeah,
Wow.
It all depends on when they have the large concerts, but
sure.
if you do one every weekend, that's $4,000 a month.
Yeah. No, they don't usually though. Maybe
No.
one a month, one every other month, the big ones. where they-
There's a couple, there's two, but usually it's every other, yes.
Yeah,
Probably average 10 or 12 or 14 a year.
Yeah. We're pretty clear though that he's not going to release that right to us as far as. So he'd be getting that plus whatever agreement we come to between us and the city as far as the value per month.
Yes, sir.
Have you, just for comparison's sake, looked at other rental lots or what the value of such thing would be? Is 500 a month good for us? Coming up from zero, it doesn't seem like it. I like zero better. Well,
Right.
plus
It's a
we're
lot of
already
money.
giving him value, the lights and the maintenance. So
Right.
what's that worth?
The lights themselves are worth 60.
Right.
I don't know on the maintenance because it was rolled into the city contract.
Who
Yeah.
takes care of the insurance on that property if somebody was hurt?
If it is during one of our events, the city has a blanket coverage.
But if it's on,
And if we end up doing a paid lease agreement, then yes, we would provide insurance through our TML liability.
So, so tell me, what would happen if we didn't extend this lease?
If we don't,
What does that mean to the property owner,
for the adjacent
restaurant?
property owners,
Yeah.
he's gonna charge him $200 a month. If the restaurant owner is unwilling to pay it, he will tow cars if he sees them, or he will block off his parking lot.
That's lovely. We can't let that happen.
So he's offered to us 500 a month and to the restaurant 200?
Because in his mind, the restaurant has a small use, maybe parking 10 to 15 cars. The city, if we rent it, especially for our events, we're filling it up. So we have a higher usage.
But
A
less
couple times a
often.
month, yeah,
Find a-
exactly, a couple times a month.
less often.
Yeah. Right. That's why I think
Yeah,
there should be room
How
for
often are we
negotiation.
using it? I mean, we have for,
Market days and
Micah Days.
the Jazz Fest and what are any other events we have.
So maybe 15, 16 times a year that we're using the full lot?
Ask him how much he would charge us for those 15 days.
can do that.
Plus,
Per
I
event.
mean, just
Yeah,
plus
per event.
a service to the citizens, those people who want a place to park, even if it's not a particular event, they can park there and not get towed. So we're providing that, you know, non-event parking to the citizens when they come up. So that is a value to the community, to the EDC.
Right. I mean, parking is critical in Old Town Helotes.
Critical.
Has the city ever paid for parking like this in the past?
We've been very fortunate. The answer is no. We've had 2 public parking agreements. Both have been free. The other one is with First Baptist Church. That one obviously doesn't get used as much at the other end of Old Town. We entertained one with Ken Dempsey at Wine 101, but there was, I guess, some logistics on paving and lighting that I think the city wanted security lighting. Ken didn't want that because it would impede visually on his wedding venue, was my understanding. So that agreement didn't move forward.
Yeah, we were lucky to get that one piece of property donated to us. I think that was,
True.
and so we turned it into a parking lot. What's his deal
About
on that
50
now? Are
spots.
we renting that to someone, or is that just open for?
No, that's open public.
Open public.
Yeah, the city
Have-
purchased it and paid it.
Have we looked at the cost to do the grading and base material?
Have not.
I mean, that's in the thousands of dollars, just right off the bat.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, maybe if the city wanted to go halves with it or something and work out an agreement where we could get an estimate on what it would cost to put, and you don't wanna put anything bigger than like 1/2 or 3/4 inch base in there. And you wouldn't have to put a whole lot of it in there, but we need to see what it would cost to put that in and work some kind of agreement with him, say a 5-year lease with, if it cost us $2,000 or $3,000, or it's gonna cost more than that probably to do
I'm
that.
thinking 5 to 6.
At least.
Reduce it by, do a 5-year lease and pay him $300 a month or something,
Right.
and split it with the city.
Yeah, I agree,
Of
something
course,
like
the
that.
city's, y'all have to talk about it at council too, but I think we need the parking for Old Town.
I do too. I agree with needing the parking and then
Five
going about it
hundred a
long
month
term.
isn't really that expensive. But it's right now, if it rains, you can't really use it. It can get pretty muddy in there.
Yeah, we do need that longer term agreement though. We can't go back and renegotiate something like this every year, especially if we're going through the effort to do the grading. We obviously need the parking and we need it long term.
Okay.
So maybe we should think about, you know, something even
Longer.
longer, you know, say, look, we're gonna need it for a long time to come, you know, unless you plan on putting a building on it and it's always gonna be a parking lot. You know, we want right of first refusal or whatever, if you're gonna transfer the property or,
Is it something that we might consider buying?
I actually asked him that question,
What
if,
do you say?
if there was a price he had in mind to
Yeah.
sell the property, and he said he is unwilling at any price to sell right now.
Really?
unwilling at any
He's
price.
making lots of money off the events across the street.
I
It's
see.
a lot of money.
Well, we could make money too.
Yeah.
What's it worth? What's the real estate worth? You know how many acres it is? Quarter acre or something? Half acre?
Maybe it's probably 2 acres.
That much?
Do we know what
The appraised value on it's $235,000, which
Yeah.
means it's probably worth quite a bit more than that.
Right.
Taxes
You gotta
on it.
look at like the B Daddy's lot.
It's
Bigger, larger building, well, more improved building, how about that? Slightly smaller lot. That one sold for 1.2 million, to the last owner.
appraised value right now.
So,
Yeah, and that's got 2 buildings on it that are in that appraised value too.
so this one could be in the, I would say $600,000 to $800,000 range. Just because there's more land.
Is there some, what's his tax exposure on that? Is that negotiable with the lease?
He doesn't, the city of Helotes doesn't have any property tax, and we can't negotiate anything for the county.
No, we have property tax, 0.35
Oh, that's
per
right,
hundred.
yeah.
And that's
Well, it's
something
actually-
the city might
It's appraised
entertain.
at $235,000 on the tax roll, so that's gonna be about, 235, if that's what it's actually on there at,
20,
for city taxes would be only be about $500 a year. That's all my city tax is, and mine's appraised at 210.
Yes, negotiable.
Yep. Oh, what are the deal?
This sounds like it's a very precarious situation if we don't.
Who is he
We
to?
do 1
To
year.
Uvalde Terry? He's the executor of the trust, or?
Old Bandera, and that's
Son.
Highway 16, yeah. That's where the property turns back to buildings. The red barn's right here and the little antique shop's right here. B-Daddy's is right here.
All right, with the, okay, flower shops up in front,
Yes, he's right here.
street, and so,
That's another little,
oh, that's
that may be part of the same property. Maybe both lots.
a little strip there in between.
Yeah, I don't know who owns that. That may be with that property. Well, appraised value is $232,550. That's shown on there.
We're talking about this property right here, right?
What's the city's tax rate? 232,550.
about $800.
Yeah, it's only about $800 a year for our portion. Of course, you put it all together, he's got about probably $6,000 or $7,000 tax load with all the other entities included.
But that wouldn't be an option to
Well,
abate.
what if we, I don't know, propose just, we can't, I don't think, don't want to take any action on anything at this point, but
Just direction.
suggest
Without
to
the
the,
city
suggest to
getting
the
on
city to, or Glenn to get an estimate of a cost to put 3/4 inch base on there. And I would want to prorate that cost over a 5-year lease.
At least.
And at least reduce the amount of the lease by the cost of that. And have a caveat in the lease that if he can have a 30-day out on the lease if he wants it, but he's gonna, to take the out, he'll have to pay the rest of that prorated cost that's left on the lease back to the EDC or the city, whoever pays for it.
Well, yeah, otherwise you'd get a
Yeah,
new graded,
You could
parking
get it
lot.
graded
walk
in
out.
there, and then in 3 months, get a cancellation on it, and you spent $5,000 on it, and
And he's gone. Yeah.
it's just gone. you know.
That's
He
what
can
it
still
sounds,
get-
that's what it
He
sounds
can
like.
still
Yeah, it
get
sounds like he's
probably
wants to sell.
$350 a month out of that and prorate that over 5 years, and has the improvement on the property, and then I'm sure we'll be maintaining it, so he's got no cost involved with that, it's improved his property. Motion to that
Maybe
effect.
paying for him.
Do we
Well,
need to
that's
make a
just
No.
motion?
staff.
No, just staff direction is
Give
fine.
the comments to the city.
With improvements, it'll be over 1,000 a month. With base material and the 500, it'll be over 1,000 a month that we're paying for that year.
Well, yeah, the first year.
You're right. And then if we cancels, that's it.
No, if he cancels, he's gotta pay back the cost of the base. If he cancels after 1 year and we've spent $5,000 on a 5-year lease, he's gotta give us back $4,000.
Right.
And we've gotten a year's at least use out of it.
Lock him in.
Yeah, if he wants us to do it, we can do it, but he's gonna have to assume he's gonna have to step up to the table on it too, where it's a fair lease to both parties.
I agree. Okay.
Good.
Now, can we stipulate something about towing? Because that's the first thing that
Oh, totally.
customers are really, they won't come back to
If we
Lotus.
do this,
They
it's
get their
public
cars
parking, he won't be towing anybody.
Okay. But even if those special events happen,
Well, special events will have the use of it. If he's gonna wanna maintain the floor thing.
so.
Recharge
Yeah,
the
floors,
floor,
he's
got
responsible for
somebody
those
out there
events.
Managing that, paying
Okay.
people when
but
they
not
come
this,
off.
but not this property, not this parking lot. That's another parking
That's the
lot?
same one.
Same way.
Oh, it is.
And
But
he makes a lot of
we
money.
don't have any, I don't see any problem with them using it to pay parking during Flores concerts, so that's not till,
Yeah, but if he starts towing cars, people won't come back to Flores.
No, if we do this
what I
agreement, there
mean?
wouldn't be towing of
he
cars.
won't be towing them,
He won't be?
he'll have it blocked off with an
Okay.
entrance and
Yeah.
charge them
Alright.
as they come in and park.
Well, we should still stipulate that he's not gonna be towing any cars for special events or otherwise without permission from, I don't know, police or somebody's blocking a fire hydrant. That's one thing. But we get him out there and he starts towing because his guys left, right, who were guarding the parking lot. Other guys come in and park.
He wouldn't know who's paid and who wasn't. He'll have somebody, no, he's
Mm. Yeah.
not gonna do something like that. No.
Yeah, well, that's famous last words.
No,
I'd rather
no.
protect ourselves.
He's been doing this forever and there's never
Yeah.
been any problem.
He's also never charged either.
Oh, yeah, for the Flores concerts, he does.
No, I know, but I'm saying.
But he
charged
does-
EDC, Yeah.
I thought somebody said he does tow.
Oh, that's the first thing he said, I'll tow.
Yeah.
He would,
He said
Yeah.
he'd tow.
yeah.
So I think we need to kind of negate that.
That came out
Can
from
be put in
him.
the wording on the
I don't
lease
care if he's
now.
never done it
Now,
before, and just
when-
make sure it's
When he's doing
clear.
a Flores concert, that's his responsibility. He's got control of it at that time. It's
Yeah.
not the city's responsibility. Or it's our responsibility to deal with him on that. We don't need to get into that.
Right, agreed.
Ready?
So y'all
Item
can
6.
talk about it next meeting.
Yeah, so y'all have to write up an appropriate lease with all the
Oh, yeah.
appropriate lease language and all of that. That'll come together.
Yeah, you can modify the existing lease and make it fit it.
Absolutely.
It pretty well covers everything except just add the maintenance and.
Yeah, just put
Pro
the value
rata
of those
stuff,
things
the
we're putting in,
value,
yeah.
The attorney fees will be $2,000.
Hmm?
The attorney fees will be $2,000.
Possibly. We'll let the city send it to the attorney.
Let him pay for that too.
Item 6.
Does that sound good to everybody? Okay, the only other thing we have is staff report on the usual commercial development, promotional booklet updates on ICSC contract.
So under item 6, the first page I included in the packet is the typical development update form. You'll notice there's a couple of new businesses, Almui Pediatrics, which moved into Business Parkway, Helotes Town Center, across from Walmart.
Okay.
We also have Tropical Snow, which moved in 12800 Bandera Road, that is next to the Little Caesars and Edward Jones investment. They opened on Saturday, still working with the owners about doing a grand open ribbon cutting, so it should be in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And then Burlap Junkies has signed a lease, and they've will be taking over a spot in Shops at Old Town Helotes, so the new development with the Wine 101.
Yeah, and that's supposed to be ready like July 15th for them to move in.
Yeah, they've got a big ribbon cutting planned.
What is
So-
that? Is that a clothing store or something?
And it's more accessories, home accessories. Sorry, I
Okay.
shouldn't say like jewelry. Home decoration. They also do craft nights. They'll do women in wine. So they really try to get people out to the store, engage them. They do a lot of marketing, which I think is going to be great for the area. They go on SA Living in the morning. They do 4 shows a year.
Hmm.
And I believe
are
they
you
have about
supposed to move,
8,000
Joel?
followers right now, so.
Really?
As soon as he gets the sheet rock up.
A month ago.
Yeah, I talked with the general contractor yesterday down there, and he's supposed to turn over the building to them no later than Monday, so they can start painting. I mean, everything will be
Either
done.
interior finish out.
Yeah. Slim's
Wow.
Chicken, they had, I can tell you this part, because it's on here now. They requested an incentive. The incentive request was unusual. Typically, a developer of a project requests an incentive to reduce the cost of development, and therefore he can charge a more reasonable rate for rents. This one Slim's Chicken has ownership in the development company. They're two separate entities, and it was the tenant asking for the incentive to reduce their overhead. So Retail Strategies, our consultant, would not make a recommendation on this incentive and kicked it back to us. We've asked for additional information from the company, and they have not provided that. So at this point, they own the land, they've already turned in plans, we're waiting on their civil. So they're moving forward without having it.
Incentives.
So we're just kind of letting it go unless they really push it.
They asked for basically building permits, all the taxes, all the sales tax and everything else back.
It was a very aggressive ask.
And they're a chicken restaurant?
Yes. I will tell you, we're being pursued by 5 chicken franchises right now.
Yeah, I've never even heard of Slim's Chicken.
I haven't either.
We have more chicken shacks than we've got churches.
We might. And then we do have a developer that is put in an offer, and the offer was accepted on 14 acres of land near Bandera Plaza and the Storage Mart. So that's on the, as you're coming into Holotus, it's on the right-hand side. Let's see, you got it pictured?
What do they want to put
Yeah.
there?
It would be a semi-mixed use development, so office, retail, pad sites up front. There has been some discussion of multifamily. We told them the issues currently in Helotes with that. And then there's actually a cave in the back of the property. So our understanding from the engineer right now is that it's a 2-foot diameter by 5-foot deep cave, so it's not like a cavern.
Oh, wait a minute. That's that property. I know that property, and I know that cave.
Uh-oh.
No, I surveyed that cave. Yeah, no, that's a lot bigger than that.
Okay. That's the information that we were given so
Okay,
far
that-
from
That's
KFW.
not correct information if it's the
I
property
know
I'm
it's
thinking of.
been surveyed by Vinny back whenever he
Right.
did all that, so TCEQ
Right.
is already aware of the cave. But it is not a identified critical habitat, so
No.
We're
no,
still trying to
I wouldn't think it would
figure
be
out.
that. It's very simple.
Big
It's very
enough for
simple. It's
critical
one
habitat.
shaft with a main room and then a secondary room off to the side.
okay.
Is it a man-made cave?
No, it's a natural solution cave.
Okay. So what does that mean? I mean, why did you bring it up?
They're unsure of the buffer zone right now. It could be anywhere from 200 feet to 1,200 feet. If it's 1,200, then the site is not developable. If it's 200 feet, we're good to go.
And that's
Yeah, the-
depth?
Area.
Square, okay.
From the center.
Yeah, well, we'll get into the engineering later. They can approach that. I won't comment tonight on that.
And then the next page is this is just a contact list of meetings that myself and Rick Schroeder had up at Recon, which was our big International Council of Shopping Centers conference in Las Vegas. Broke it out into hotel, retail, developer, and a couple of consultants we met with. There is definitely some interest on the retail side in Helotes. We've got a couple of junior anchors that would help this 14-acre development start sooner rather than later. And they're trying to get LOIs out on that one right now. Are there any questions on that sheet?
Interesting, we got Dollar General on there, and the Dollar General just closed down. Raised the rent too high on them, they moved out.
On Dollar General, yes, they had a very nice lease prior with very small step increases. They started out at $4 a square foot, and I believe they were around the per year, not per month. and they were around the $7, $7.50 range now. And to put it in perspective, current rents in that center are anywhere from $14 to $18 a square foot per year. So their final term ended, the rent rate was raised, they chose to not renew. And we got Dollar Tree. So just switching over concepts slightly.
Are you pursuing any of these?
House of Blooms, they, their contract is up, June, so this month. She was doing well, but she didn't, I got the impression she didn't like what she was doing, necessarily. She had started getting more into doing weddings and seeing the value in that. There's a much higher markup. And by doing the wedding, she doesn't need a storefront, like a retail front store. So she's going over off of data point. So where she's paying, I think she was paying $3,000 a month for this space. Probably about $17 a square foot, I believe. Over off of data point, she's paying $8. So for her, it was strictly price.
Well, she went from that small space and jumped in there, and then the bakery didn't go, so it kind of snowballed on her. She's probably gonna go back to what she started out doing.
She's not gonna be doing the telefloral. She's strictly going into weddings, doing arrangements. Oh, I forgot item B, I'm sorry. These have gone out for print, and I expected to have them here today, but we're probably gonna be a day short. So I just ran off one copy real quick of what our EDC promotional booklet that we approved at the last meeting, which is 2 months ago.
Nice,
General, what it looks like.
very nice.
And it also has the revised logo on the backside.
Cool.
Really sharp.
And
Nice.
then we've got some additional collateral with that.
Logo.
That was just given to us. We've got to review it and send our comments back. That is going to be part of the larger packet. So all the contacts that we make at Recon or other events, they're going to get the EDC booklet in an envelope, the business cards. It's going to have a letter from the mayor, trying to kind of welcome them to looking at our community. And then it goes inside of an envelope, and everything is branded the same.
Has it been edited, like, just to make sure it's perfect?
This was done through Gals Pascal Media and their copywriters. We paid for the service.
I've just seen things out,
I hope.
pushed out, too quickly, and it hasn't been,
Oops.
yeah, oops, I don't want it. Yeah, it looks good.
I will say the initial price we received from Squires, a few of you might remember the original company we hired to do the design work. Printing for 500 booklets was going to be $3,400. We're getting 2,000 for 1,800 through a company
Color?
here in Bernie.
Is it color?
Yes, it is full
Okay.
color. For process color. It'll be on the same paper as our brochures, so it's a thicker stock.
Who is it?
L-
Maybe your stock
Who that's doing the printing? Lebco Graphics.
Sorry.
Lebco Graphics in Bernie.
Oh, Bernie. They said they were here in Lotus. Bernie.
Bernie.
Is there any update on the trail, can I ask?
Everything has been turned in to TxDOT. The project is scheduled to be let July 7th. I believe the new estimate was $1.285 million. So within our budgeted price, as long as there's no surprises, but I think it's 30-day process,
It's about, not quite that long.
not quite.
The contracts, we'll know apparent low bidder by 2 o'clock. I'll email you the apparent low bidder and the bid amount. Probably about 2 or 2:30 that afternoon, I go online while they're opening the bids and look at it. Then they go before the Highway Commission to be approved the third Thursday of the month or something. And then it's usually right after the first of the month by the time they have signed contract documents. So probably close to 30 days till we have a signed contract afterward. And once we get, we'll have to see what the bids come in. Sometimes,
Right.
knowing how TxDOT estimates, it could come in at $1.1 million, it could come in at $1.7 million. You don't know, it depends on what the contractors that bid on it, how many people bid on it, and how interested the contractors are. We'll know in about 3 weeks what the bid cost is, and we'll have a meeting prior to the award, and there may be some things in there we can, there's a note in there right now that if they, where they've got all those big gabion baskets, which is big wire mesh baskets with riprap type stone in it, along it, if they go in there and that is solid rock, they can just do piers down and not have to, you could reduce the cost quite a bit by not having to put those gabions in if the structure of the creek is such it would allow you to do it. So there might be a little cost savings, and we won't know that till after they start construction and go and start working.
That is
on it.
true.
Did it took, what, about 5 years to get to this point?
I think so.
Probably.
We can have a shovel turning ceremony.
We should.
I think we should. I mean, it's been a long time coming. It's kind of a silly thing, but
We got some shovels around here painted gold, don't we?
Yeah, I know.
it's been a long haul to get to this point.
Just have a
Publicity
groundbreaking.
could be
We
good.
could do that.
That'd be fun. Get some waders. We all walk in with our waders into the creek.
I think we'll do it up by the
Like fishing.
church.
Yeah, fly
Yeah,
fish.
snake chaps,
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
Actually, bringing up the church, another good thing, we have signed contracts for easements with the 4 property owners involved. So Our Lady of the Guadalupe, Mr. Velasquez, which is on the other side, Bob and Judy Buck, and then Paul Greeting. So everyone that we needed an easement from, we got those signed.
Any other questions? Adjourn the meeting of the EDC at 7:42.